does the job for you. I hope so. All right. So we have a program. We expect it will run about an hour, depending on the length of our reports. And let me get started. What I'm going to do first is talk to you just a little bit about some of the projects that are kind of the traditional way of looking at the Buddhist Text Translation Society. That is to say, the books that we translate in public. And then I'm going to demonstrate our brand new website, which is there in front of you right now. And it's the Buddhist Text Translation Society. I'm going to try to get rid of my, let's see, hide the favorites bar. Please do that. Can you hide the favorites? Let's see, hide the sidebar. Haha, there we go, good. So this is our new website, BTTS, btts.drba.org. You can see it highlighted on the top of the screen. Then I'm going to talk about our new faculty series ebooks that are going to be coming out one by one, and then talk about our various branches of our Avatamsaka Sutra translation project, and then give everybody an introduction to a proposal to offer a set of biographies for our founder, our teacher, the late John Master Shang Xuan Xiahua, Master Xuan Hua. And then talk about the media team, our Dharma Tech, and invite folks who have those gifts and abilities and skills to join us. And then other ongoing projects and teams. So we have a lot of information to present and lots of opportunities for folks who want to join in Master Hua's vision for spreading the Buddhist teachings here in the West and around the world, to tell you how you can do that. So if that's okay with everybody, we'll just jump right in and mention that I've been reading Buddhist books since I went to my local public library at age 15 in Toledo, Ohio, and found a copy of Buddhist Sutra. It was in my Toledo, Ohio public library, and it was bilingual. It had Chinese on the left-hand side and English on the right-hand side, and it was the Six Patriarchs Dharma Jewel Platform Sutra, the Platform Sutra of the Six Patriarchs. And it was translated well enough that when I opened up that book, I had the very unusual feeling that I had been talking with the Sixth Patriarch just that morning. My sensation reading the Sixth Patriarch Sutra was as if I had just hung up the phone with the Sixth Patriarch. His voice in the sutra was that close, that present, and that personal, that friendly. So I was intrigued, because how is that possible? How could a middle American kid who was playing baseball and eating hamburgers, come to meet the Sixth Patriarch so closely that I felt like I'd had a conversation with him? That was a very unusual situation. So there I was in Toledo, Ohio, in the public library, reading in English the voice of the Sixth Patriarch. And that was only half the experience. The other half of the experience was looking across the page and seeing the Chinese characters and thinking, wow, these things have meaning. And if I look over to the right, maybe the English words are reflecting what the Chinese says, and maybe the Chinese has real wisdom in those characters, but there it is in English, going back and forth, and tracing Ren, that character with two legs, and thinking, oh, person, human, man, woman, there it is. And finding that on the page and being thrilled with being able to pull English meanings out of Chinese characters. So that was right at my own small hometown. I had a flavor of the joys and the rewards of translating from one language to another. Well, that excitement never let me go. And so I'm doing today some, should I say how many years? 40, almost 50 years later, I'm doing the same thing every day and still getting that excitement. So anyway, Buddhist sutras coming through from China to the West are steadily appearing. More and more people are able to have that experience that I had. So, that being true, I have to say that when you go into a regular bookstore, let's say Barnes & Noble, or if you can find bricks and mortar bookstores available, your local bookstore, The Vanishing Breed, or if you go online, let's say you click onto Amazon.com or BNN.com or whatever, and you want to find sutras, Buddhist sutras, that is to say the voice of the Buddha, it's not easy to do. It's a challenge. Why? There just aren't many. There aren't many of those sutras. They haven't been translated in any great numbers. And if you, on the other hand, if you look at it in terms of comparative religion, if you go into any hotel room around the world and you open the drawer in the table next to your bed in your hotel room, what do you find? You find the Gideon Bible, right? The Gideon Bible. It's the Gideon Society is a group of Christian folks who have done a really good job of providing the Bible, the Old and New Testament, in the local language of that hotel room. You can open the drawer in the table next to the bed, and there it is. Now, interestingly enough, the Buddha spoke the sutras 500 years before we say the Common Era, before we start dating the calendar. 500 years before Jesus, let's say, walked on the planet, if we take those dates as the true dates. So, how many times do you go into a hotel room and open a drawer of the table next to the bed and find a Buddhist sutra? Find the Heart Sutra, the Diamond Sutra, the Lotus Sutra, the Six Patriarchs Sutra. You don't, right? Well, some places you do. And I have to say, I was just in Zhejiang, China, at Tiantaishan, at Mount Tiantai, and we stayed at the Tiantai Hotel one night, and I'm happy to report to you today that when I opened the drawer of the table next to the bed, you know what I found? The Lotus Sutra. Fa Hua Jing, there it was. It was not the Gideon Bible. Not that we're fighting. We're not fighting with the Christians, mind you. We're not competing for drawers in the tables in the hotel rooms. But it would be nice if people around the world were able to say, I know what a Buddhist sutra is. I've held one. I've opened one. I've read one. I heard people explain it. I actually introduced it to my kids. I know the difference between the Lotus Sutra and the Earth Store Bodhisattva Sutra and the Flower Garland Sutra, because I've read them. That would be nice, wouldn't it? But maybe that's in the time to come, we'll see. Now, our teacher, Master Xuan Hua, our founder, made it important to introduce to us the sutras spoken by the Buddha. How important was it to our teacher? Every night of his stay in America, he devoted 90 minutes to opening the Buddhist texts and going over them word by word, line by line, paragraph by paragraph, chapter by chapter, sutra by sutra, every single night, twice on Saturday, twice on Sundays. That's how important he saw it was to bring the Buddha's teachings to the West. And he had us. Master Hua was not fluent in English enough to be able to lecture on his own in English. He invited the younger generation to come translate. And that's how I was introduced to Gold Mountain Monastery in San Francisco in the 60s, the 70s. So, actually in the 70s, that was. So, here is a pilgrim, a pioneer who was bringing the Chinese Mahayana tradition to the West, who said, I want these Americans and Westerners and people all over the world, and the Chinese later, to hear the words of the Buddha. Not only to hear the words of the Buddha, we want to hear the Buddha's voice. We want to hear the Buddha's voice. Now, what does that mean? Well, that's a story for another time, but first of all, let me direct you to this website online. Can you all focus on this web page here? And what is it? I'll show you. It is If anybody is watching this online and you might be at home and you want to check it out while you're listening, you can do it. It is http://btts.drba.org. There it is. btts.drba.org. Okay? That's Buddhist Text Translation Society, Dharma Realm Buddhist Association.org. Okay? Go there. All right? Try that. See what you get. If all is well, you should be getting this page in front of you right here. Now I wanted to show you, I'm going to click on something here, and look. Click on this link. And what comes down are translation guidelines, languages, training opportunities, join our translation meetings online, and the Avatamsaka Sutra project. Okay? So Master Hua said, please make these texts that I'm explaining available to people around the world. How many languages do we have now? We have translations into Chinese, Vietnamese, Spanish, Dutch, Italian is on the way, French, German, and Polish. How about that? Lots of translations. Furthermore, we are translating as we go. Tomorrow morning, Monday morning, the Avatamsaka Sutra will be translated online. There will be an opportunity for people to join if you care to do so, if you'd like to bring your talents and skills and energy to the translation project. One of those sutras is the Avatamsaka Sutra that we're going to translate from beginning to end, since our teacher spent 9 years of the 30 years that he translated, that he lectured, 9 years devoted to a single text. And we're now going to honor that work of our teacher and bring it to life from beginning to end. All right, when you go to the bookstore, let's look at publications. Here's our catalog. What did Master Hua lecture on all those years? Take a look. I'm just going to scroll slowly. Flower Adornment Sutra, Daily Recitation Handbook, Sharangama Sutra, 100 Dharmas Shastra, Buddhism A to Z and the Chan Handbook, a link takes you out to the Buddhist Text Translation Society online where you can actually buy the texts. What kind of texts? Take a look. Vietnamese, French, Chinese. We have Chinese sutras with commentaries, talks, the Water Mirror series, sutra text, the original language without commentary, specialty books, children's books. In English, sutras, biographies, children's books, Dharma talks, IWR publications, Religions East and West, and specialty. French, Italian, books and CDs, Spanish books, Vietnamese, etc., calendar, tapes, lots, okay? Also, our monthly journal, Vajrabodhi, which I believe may be the longest running bilingual Chinese and English publication anywhere to be found. It's in, let's see, we can bring this up. This is 502 consecutive issues. That's quite a record for bilingual sutra translations, bilingual magazines, that is, journals. All right, so you can see there is a lot of publications. This is where we have come so far. Now, free downloads, ebooks, audio podcast, video broadcast, etc. Not to say we're proud of what we've done, that is to say that our output has certainly not come up to our teacher's output. He lectured tirelessly every night of his stay in America for over 30 years. We have a long way to go to catch up to his output, but at least we are in the process, and we are hoping that people will volunteer to join this work, to bring your skills, be it with original languages, be it with editing, be it with layout, publications, with with internet abilities or high-tech abilities of sort. Here is the volunteering link, so you can sign up, find out more, subscribe to the newsletter, or join our outreach program that we're going to be hearing more about. All right? So this is some of the information that's available to you from our Buddhist Text Translation Society, btts.drba.org. I should mention also that down here, if you want to click on this F, you know where that takes you. It takes you right out to Facebook. Not that you go out to Facebook very often, do you? Or not that you ever leave Facebook. That's probably a little... Okay, every now and then it's good to get some sleep. Just log off and go to sleep. But now, of course, we're kidding about that, but people do tend to spend lots of time on Facebook. If you do, just surf right over the Buddhist Text Translation Society and click the like button. I've already done that right here, to like it. We appreciate that. Send us a message that says, how can I get involved? I would like to offer this skill or that ability, or I would like to offer a critique. I know a way that you can improve what you've been doing. We would love to hear about that. How can we make progress in our understanding of translating teachers' rendering of the Buddha message? You'll find news here. For example, there was in Ukiah here in Northern California, Mendocino County, where we are. Our volunteers here from the campus and from the community joined the Native American Fair in Ukiah, California, and put up a booth and had lots of folks come by to find out about what we were doing. Here's some photos. Our Sangha members and laity showing folks the publications of the Buddhist Text Translation Society here at the Ukiah Native American Fair, which is an annual event. So you get news from the work of the BTTS, news of our new publications, a chance to join in the translation. How do you translate paramita or bolomi? So you can jump right in to the work of translation. Find out about our ongoing efforts and contribute your artistic skills, your publications abilities, etc. So the Facebook page is hopping, it's lively. So please do come over and check that out. All right. Now, I'm going to put this in front of you here and tell a little story. Let's see, maybe we'll go back to that website. It's quite handsome. News and events, there we are. All right. Some people would say, what's all the fuss? Why are you Buddhists not meditating? Right? Isn't that what Buddhists do? Buddhism is meditation, isn't it? That's what we understand. Certainly I did that. When I first came around as an interested American, I wanted to meditate. And I'll tell you the truth, I wanted to get enlightened. And I wanted to get enlightened now, as soon as possible, right away. That was my job, was to just get the prize quickly. And if somebody came to me and said that the wisdom of the Buddha was captured in sutras, in these Buddhist texts. Now, I had seen the Sixth Patriarch at that point, and I'd heard the name of the Lotus Sutra, and I had picked up a book called The Dharma Bums by Jack Kerouac. And in my generation, that was how you found out about Buddhism, was by reading your eyes went to the beatnik poets and the people who had actually experienced Japanese culture. Well, why didn't they experience Chinese culture? Well, for historical reasons, monks were not allowed to come out of China since 1949. It was very difficult. Our teacher went to Hong Kong in 1949, and so he was able to bring the Dharma across. So if you wanted to find out about Buddhism, you had to touch Zen, basically. That was pretty much what was available, other than Japanese Pure Land, the Jodo Shinshu, and a few others, Buddhists from Sri Lanka, etc., but not very many, and not in English. So for us, pretty much meditation was it. That was it. But when I met my teacher, when I started coming around Gold Mountain Monastery and then later City of 10,000 Buddhas, here was this Chan monk, this paragon, this sage who was bringing the Buddha Dharma in its entirety to the West, spending 90 minutes every day explaining Buddhist sutras. And that was something brand new. That I had no idea that this was something that Buddhists did, was to look into the teachings of the Buddha. And once I started poking around in it, I discovered that, my goodness, there's an entire wall full of teachings called sutras. Furthermore, there are commentaries called shastras. Furthermore, there are texts about the organization of the Sangha called the Vinaya. So 3 baskets, the Tripitaka, the 3 baskets of the Buddhist teaching, book after book after book. And if that's true, then why didn't the Chinese spend more time doing what our teacher did? Once I drew near Gold Mountain and found our teacher explaining the Buddhist sutras, opening them to this and saying to us, you know, these sutras are like a mirror. When you look in them, you see your own face. And not only do you see all the flaws, all the wrinkles, all the warts, all the uglinesses, you also see in this mirror of the sutras your own Buddha nature. You see the perfection that you can become if you cultivate the way. That's the power of the sutras, is they show you your shortcomings as a living being who is full of greed, anger, and delusion, but at the same time, they show you the potential that you can become wise and compassionate. They open up the path of the Bodhisattva, this supremely unselfish living being who exists to benefit the whole world, who are true idealists, altruistic, selfless living beings. And furthermore, the sutras show you how to make the great resolve for Bodhi, the Bodhicitta, how to give rise, how to create this thought of awakening. That's what are in the sutras, said Master Hua. And I thought, I want that. I want that. So I started to, I'm speaking very personally here, but I think this is a story that I can share with people. I wanted that kind of experience. And so I started to look into the sutras, and I studied it at the university before I got to the Sangha, before I left home. And I assumed that this was how all monks explained the sutras. Only later, when I went to China and Taiwan, did I discover that our teacher's vision was somewhat different, a little different from the standard view of sutras. And what I discovered was really surprising, which was this, that in Asia, not only China, but also in Korea, also in Japan, also in Vietnam, where the Mahayana tradition went, the standard way to do it was to go not to the sutras, but to the commentaries. That most people, instead of opening the sutras respectfully with their palms together and reading the words of the Buddha, they would say something like, well, this is too deep, this is too philosophical, this is too hard, I can't understand it. I need to go to a commentary that explains it. So the custom was to go to what the learned monks, the sages of the 1800 years, 2000 years that Buddhism had been in China to find out what the Buddha said. Master Hua said, commentaries are wonderful. However, you can hear the voice of the Buddha directly. I look at the commentaries, I read them, I don't depend on them before I get to the sutras. You can hear the Buddha's voice directly. use your wisdom to figure out what the sutras mean to you. To me, said Master Hua, the sutras are something I can't do without for even a minute, because they show me how to be a better human being on the way to becoming a Buddha. So I heard that, I thought, yeah, that's how monks talk. And it turns out that's kind of special. That's a reformer's voice, setting aside all the baggage of the tradition that approaches sutras kind of through a bunch of filters. That was different. Master Hua said, you have what it takes to interpret the Buddha's wisdom on your own. And so that's what we're doing here. We are opening up the sutras and saying, hey, there is this treasury of wisdom. There is this deep ocean of compassion waiting for anybody who touches the Buddha's sutras. Try it. See what you think. See if you can't get that same response. And I do. That's what I get. Every time I touch these sutras, I feel like I'm kind of in an environment that is nurturing my wisdom. It's like the air changes. That's a little bit airy-fairy, maybe, for some folks, but that's the experience that I have. Transcendent, wonderful atmosphere, hearing the Buddha's voice. So that's, I think, the approach that makes the work of the Buddhist Text Translation Society kind of special. We go directly for the Buddha's voice. Now, not to disrespect the Shastra tradition, the commentaries. They are waiting for anybody who has the energy and the insight to translate them. But we want to go through our teacher's explanation to the sutras directly. He's encouraging us to read the sutras. Now, what else do people do? Sure, you can recite them. You can copy them out. You can reprint them. You can illustrate them. But most of all, I think the important thing is to take the sutras like a roadmap that shows you how to walk all the way home to wisdom and compassion. Take the sutras like a blueprint. They're like the directions for building a house, so that when you move in, there is kindness, there is genuine security, there is less fear. You know, take the sutras as shoes, something that you walk in to carry you all the way to the top of Nirvana Mountain. And I hope that doesn't sound disrespectful, but what's to be feared is that people get a sutra, put it on a high shelf, dust it off occasionally, and maybe bow to it, never open it up. Our teacher's practice was every night, 90 minutes, open these sutras, let the light shine, find out what they mean to us. On many, many occasions, I felt it was as good as food. The word Dharma body and wisdom life felt really nourished by the voice of the Buddha in those sutras. So, now I'm a Buddhist monk, and of course, this is the way Buddhist monks talk, right? We're enthusiastic about sutras, but I just wanted to give this perspective that there are profound treasures to be discovered in these sutras, better than any other book that you will have read. And even if you read them simply as literature, they are so sustaining. They're food for our wisdom. So please do take an opportunity to order online, to find a friend who's got one, go to your local monastery and bring home a bag of sutras, or find some of the free sutras that we distribute on our website. You can download MP3s to hear our teacher's voice, to hear other voices explaining the texts, or go to the local monastery where they're being lectured and sit in and see if you don't agree with me, that there's tremendous insight and a real sense of joining the Buddhist family, warmth, and a community of Dharma friends that are, some are bodhisattvas, awakened beings, some are devas, some are just your little brother or your mom who's sitting beside you hearing those sutras. So here in California, at the monasteries of the Dharma Realm Buddhist Association, when we lecture on sutras, we have 3 generations sitting around talking about it in a circle, meditating on a text and wondering, how does this apply to my life? So it's really an ongoing source of bonding for the community around the Buddha's wisdom. Okay, so that's my pep talk, and I'm sticking to it. So please do check it out for yourself and see what you think. Now, my time is up, and I'm going to introduce our next speaker, and I'll be back in a little bit to cover some of those topics that I had mentioned or at the beginning. And the first person that I'm going to introduce is a Dharma master, Jinro, and Jinro Sure is going to talk to us about a vegetarian cookbook that is one of her recent projects. So she will explain that and tell us, no, should I say it? Tell us what's cooking? Oh my gosh, that's low-hanging fruit, huh? Bad puns. Okay, here we go. Dharma Master Jinro.
Good afternoon. I'm going to introduce the English version of the Center Greens. But first I want to acknowledge the work that was done by the authors, the Taiwan Dharma Ram book team, and also the work of the photographers and the layout artists. It's a very beautiful book. And third, I want to thank the authors of the book for giving me permission to turn this book into a Western book. When I first started to edit to this book, when I finished, it wasn't right. I had edited all the English and refined it. I had gotten down most of the cooking terms, but the book was fundamental. It was like reading a Christian cookbook because it was of the Chinese culture, and I didn't think it would really work in the West. But so I put it aside for about 2 years and thought about it for a long time. And then one of the authors said, well, you know what? Do anything you want to, change anything you want to make it available to Westerners. So that was a good opportunity. And this summer, I went to visit my sisters. One sister has a room full of vegetarian cookbooks, and she's a great cook. So we just sat down and worked together for day after day, working to get this into what I think now is a very light-hearted book. Before, the Chinese book had a lot of quotes, and they were from famous Dharma masters that no one in the West knew about, and they were all about retribution. So I thought, I think to introduce vegetarian Chinese cooking to America, it needs to be a happy, light experience. And we need to talk about things that Westerners are very interested in. So my sister was a perfect person to help me put the finished touch. And we also kind of changed the name a little bit on the front cover. We put the Master's Peace Begins with the Vegetarian Diet, and the Center Greens, a Buddhist offering, and just easy Chinese vegetarian cooking. Next slide, please. In order to ease into what it means to be a vegetarian, I chose to use a preface by Dharma Master Sure from the Kindness, because I wanted this to be a gate into the Master's words, which is the next slide. And this is his lecture on Peace Begins with a Vegetarian Diet, where he talks about taking life, about killing. He talks about what happens in the slaughterhouse. So it's a very strong statement, but I thought it should be in the book, because in the future, I think that more and more people in the West will be vegetarian, and I think that this part should be in the book because it'll always be there for people to learn. Next slide. This is a table of contents. just a regular cookbook, basically appetizers, side dishes, main dishes, and so forth. There were also some very special parts to this book, special topics, and we can go to the next slide and I'll introduce them to you. There's one section on called The Flavor of Goodness and Healthy Cooking, which talks about just an overall reason why we should be vegetarian and the benefits. And there's cooking for different temperaments and health conditions. I added this myself because I thought this would be, because I actually did work on writing a cookbook many years ago, and the cookbook now is called Healing with Whole Foods, an Eastern and Western Tradition. And so I took some of the things from that cookbook because I think they'll be helpful for Westerners to understand vegetarianism. Then there is an article by Dr. Ron Epstein on the dangers of genetically engineered food. I thought Westerns are concerned about health, and they're concerned about what they're eating, so I thought this was an opportunity to introduce some of the things that had been said by the DRBA members. And there's a section on the difference between eating plants and animals, and there's a section on vitamin 12 for vegetarians. Next slide. I also added a protein chart for vegetarians and a chart for calcium, because it's very important for vegetarians to know that they can get protein, they can get calcium for vegetarian food. Next slide. I also added a chart for natural sweeteners because people are concerned about the use of sugar in their diet and they want to use alternative sweeteners. So I thought here's an opportunity to introduce this and to kind of tell the ones that are good for you, the ones that are not, and different limitations and how they can be used. I also gave a measure at the bottom. I won't go into detail, but just to let you know generally what the book is about. Next slide. We also talked about the beauty of Chinese cooking, of colors and shapes and flavors and the nature and fragrances. So there's there's information on how to cut things, how to serve them, how to bring out the essence of food by using Chinese cooking methods. Next slide. Okay, if you don't live near a Chinese supermarket, then move. Because most of the ingredients in this book, I was told that you can only find in Taiwan. And to find them in Dallas, Texas, well, my sister and I tried. We went to shops all over Dallas, Texas, trying to find these ingredients. We actually found some, but we had better luck online. You can buy almost any Chinese ingredient online, even packaged vegetables. You can order Chinese cabbage online, or fungus, or many of these things come in dried form, or either cans, or so. Actually, now they're with the kind of the new culture in America. There are many Eastern or different ethnic groups, so you can go to your own supermarket and find a lot of things on the shelves. You'd be surprised. We have many, many things from Japan, from Vietnam, and from Taiwan. So you don't have to move, after all. Okay, next slide, please. This is one of the examples here of some of the recipes, like luffa with bamboo fungus. So where do you find that in America? And it also has goji berries in it, which come from Tibet. So this was a challenge. I thought, well, I don't think anyone knows what luffa is or bamboo fungus. So I did a lot of research and I actually looked up these things online, and I found, they ought to exist. There's a beautiful article on bamboo fungus. That's the one in the center. It looks like a girl in a lacy skirt. It's called a princess with a lacy skirt in Chinese culture. And so I added what these foods are, where do they come from, how do we serve them, where do we find them, how do we use them, and I've also added some of their nutrients, some of their helpful benefits for certain illnesses and so forth. So it's a very interesting journey for me. I learned a lot. Next slide. And here's another one. This was really interesting. Fern break stuffed with black beans. Fern break is actually fiddleheads, and you can find them in America. And that's a fiddlehead. Okay, next. I added a section on making soybean sprouts because you can't find them in Jackson, Mississippi. Okay, next slide. I don't know how I got into this, but boy, it took a lot of time. I decided to put the measurements in 3 different measures. I decided to add cups in America, and fluid ounces, and milliliters. So you can use this book in America, or Europe, or in Taiwan, or in Brazil. So it took a lot of work, but I got it done. It was real hard. Next slide. There's also a section on healthy eating throughout the 4 seasons. These are lectures given by the Venerable Master based on the Yellow Emperor's Classic and by Feng Yi. I don't know who Feng Yi is. Someone please let me know, because there are a lot of Feng Yis, I found out. Okay, next. This is an essay on blessings from saving life and encouragement to liberate life by the great master Lotus Pool. And this is a very interesting essay on what one should do during holidays. So I think you'll enjoy that. And last, I believe, the quotes. I selected to use quotes that Westerners know. I used a lot by the Venerable Master Shenhua, a lot from the kindness, from the Tang Dynasty, from John Robbins, from Plato, from Thich Nhat Hanh, Confucius, Charles Darwin, and different people that are known, Alice Walker. I even use women for their quotes. And Dr. Spock on saying children who grow up getting nutrition from plant foods rather than meat have a tremendous healthy advantage. And the one I really like by Paul McCartney is slaughterhouses have glass walls, then everyone will be a vegetarian. So I hope that you will enjoy the book. And it's being sent around right now for people to take a look at it. So I hope that they will give me their opinions and help me to refining even more before it goes for publications. Amitofo.
Thank you very much, Jinro Shi. I think people will be very interested in that book. Do people know that if you go online, you can find out what category of books sell most? And if you ask people what category of books sell the most, well, by far the Bible in the West is the #1 book, but worldwide, what kind of books? If you divide up, you think, comic books, right? Novels, right? Histories, right? Nonfiction. What is the single category that outsells any other kind of book by far? Cookbooks. That's right. All right. Our next speaker is Shi Yihuan. Shi Yihuan is a laywoman, a Dharma protector from Oakland, California, who is very vigorous in all aspects of our publications, but she is going to talk to us about media production. She herself has a background in arts and theater in particular, and she's going to talk about a vision for a team producing media, that is to say, moving pictures and sound and putting that onto the web. So let's invite Yihuan.
Good afternoon, our audience in Buddha Hall and also our online viewer. Good afternoon. This is Qing Li Shi. On behalf of the media production team, I would like to share. I have to hold this microphone. Sorry, let me just. All right. Thank you, Phil. Thank you so much. Thank you. On behalf of the media production team, I would like to share with you the vision of our team and also some projects we have in mind and also the project we have been thinking and dreaming, we can say that. And most importantly, today, we are calling for volunteers all around the world to join us. So just a quick reminder that this team was officially established just 4 months ago, so your support is really, really important to us. Now I would like to open the speech by sharing with you a few photos from my current trip back to Taiwan. Photo 1, thank you. This is the Tri-Service General Hospital, Taiwan Sanjin 总医院. In this August, my father was in critical condition. So I flew back to Taiwan, and when I arrived, right away my mother directed me to a Buddha temple in the hospital. And I was very ignorant because I didn't expect this. What? A Buddhist temple in a hospital? Next photo, please. So I step into that room, that Buddhist temple, and I look up at the statues. Next, please. Next. Next again. I look up at the statues. And I bowed and I was tearing. And right away, a voice inside of me told me, everything will be okay. Because my father was really ill, so he couldn't walk to the Buddha hall. So I turned on the TV in his ward, and I flipped through all the channels. I flipped, and I stopped on one Buddhist TV channel. And on the silver screen, 4 assemblies were doing the evening recitation. While I'm saying this, although my father was sat on the bed, he put up his palm together and say, Ami Tofo, with a very tender smile. And suddenly the room turned into a place with a beacon of light and hope. So the media production team visualized this. No matter how far you live right now, for any reason, for this moment, you couldn't come to this sacred place to cultivate. Through the help of broadcast media, the help of internet media, the digital media, we could deliver the Dharma assemblies to the whole wide world. From morning recitation to the evening ceremony, from the Guanyin session to the 10,000 Buddhas' repentance, from the Dharma Master's lectures to the gathering like this today. So this team shared the same spirit and vision with the Dharma technology team. We would like to be a wing for Sangha to spread the Dharma far and wide. Okay, based on the current condition, we, with this team, could have 2 directions. We could go to 2 directions. We have 2 major tasks to work on. The first one is to preserve, and the second one is to produce. For the preserve part, I would like to quote a motto from the American Film Institute, AFI. Would you please move to the slide 6? Thank you. Their motto goes like this: the past has been preserved for the benefit of the future. This team could help to preserve so many digital resources from the past for the benefit of the Buddhism's future. One of our team members has been producing, recording DRBA's events for many, many years. And she gave me a hard drive the other day. And in that hard drive contains hundreds of image and video clips. But some of them need to be restored or either to be repaired. And now we would need someone sit down and review all of them and reorganize all of them and label them and give them the whole new life. And we could not do this without your help. Besides, last year, in the 50th anniversary, a group of volunteers recorded many hours of footage, and they interviewed the first generation disciples, and those footage are very precious. So the first thing we want to guarantee, we want to save this footage from any possible damage first, and then move those footage into post-production. We want to edit them, assemble layers of image with dialogue, conversation, make them more interesting to watch. I heard that. I haven't had the chance to watch all the footage, but someone told me those interviews were really, really inspiring. But again, Sam, to get things rolling, we need volunteers. Okay, for the second part, the production part, we have a list of future projects that we would like to film, to produce, and they are, please, next slide. They are animation film of Master Hua's life, documentary film of a Buddhist text translation society, documentary film for the Avatamsaka Sutra translation, animation film or documentary of 3 Steps, 1 Bow, DRBA branch monasteries in English version. Just want to share with you quickly our Chinese version. Chinese version has finished, but we still need to improve them. Documentary films for masters, monastic disciples. Audio CDs of stories and fables about the previous life of the Buddha. In order to make this all happen, we are calling for volunteers globally. We need someone can film, we need someone can edit, we need someone, a good storyteller, and we want someone who enjoy using the social media to spread the Buddha Dharma. Regardless your age and your educational background, your cultural background, and no matter you are an Oscar winner or just an amateur like me. We need all of you, and please come to us. Please join this collective effort to make the Buddhism flourish. Now, I would like to direct your attention back to the Buddha temple in the hospital again. Can you, yes, put to the slide? Again, and you see there's a lot of complimentary Dharma books in the corner, right? But there's no BTTS publication there yet. All right, so, but our outreach member in Taipei, she guaranteed, she make a vow that she will endeavor to put our books there. And our outreach group member will come up to do the report next. So to close this report, I would like to use a quotation again. A few days ago, a long-time practitioner and a Dharma friend from Berkeley Buddhist Monastery, he posted an old Chinese saying on his Facebook. Slides, please. And the Chinese old saying goes like this: the ocean of misery is boundless. A turn of the head is the other shore. 苦海无边，回头是岸。The master once said it's very, very difficult to spread the Buddha Dharma in the East. So the media team would like to serve as a skillful tool and expedient means to support the Sangha, to turn people's head quickly and enable them to find their happiness and peace quickly. So if you'd like to join us, please go to our website. Please turn to the last slide. Show them our website's address, btts.drba.org. Click the volunteering section right now and join us. Now I'm turning my head to the host. Time for next speaker, Amitofo.
Was Shi Yihuan Ji, and we thank you very much for your report. Very eloquent. Our next speaker is Suzanne Ng, and there's Suzanne, she's coming. Now, Suzanne is going to talk about volunteering. She has been a longtime Dharma protector at our various monasteries around the Bay Area, originally from Hong Kong. But she's been at Gold Mountain Monastery in San Francisco for a very long time, volunteering in all the different aspects, from teaching the young children on Saturday afternoon to volunteering in the kitchen to doing the hard work of just keeping the monastery tidy, and then most importantly, showing up at all the events and listening to the Dharma and thinking it through and putting it into practice in her own life. So she's going to talk about another aspect of taking part in the work of the Buddhist Text Translation Society. Suzanne Ng.
Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Masters, Venerable Master, Dharma Masters, members of the BTTS, and members of the public. I'm just going to read this talk I wrote this morning. I'm going to talk about the translation project that I'm involved in on every Friday morning at 5:15. The project is called Xu Men Zhen Xiao Lu. The translation of that is True Filial Respect in Buddhism and Anthology, and is compiled by Upasaka Zhen Guangtian, disciple of Yuan Ji. That is either a monastery name or a monk. So this compilation is compilation of selected texts on filial respect from different sutras, like the Lotus Sutra, Sutra of Great Compassion, Sutra on Wholesome Morality of the Bodhisattvas, Sutra of Questions by Manjushri, Sutra of Various Treasures, just to name a few. There are about 5 to 6 people currently involved with this project. We work on a shared Google document. Each of us picked a text and translated on our own time. Then on Friday mornings, we connect through Skype and we review and discuss the translated version. We begin by reading the Chinese and then the English, word by word and line by line. We make sure we did not miss anything untranslated. Then we refine the translation as we could, or sometimes we just adopt the translated version. This is time-consuming, and I just lost my place. This is time-consuming because sometimes we have to research on Chinese words or terms and trying to find the best English translation. Some people are good in Chinese, but not in English, and some are good in English, but not in Chinese. Therefore, this is really a group effort to get the best out of both languages. The section lasts at least an hour, and we end it by transferring the merit to all living beings. Then we bow to the Venerable Master and the three jewels. And that's usually how it worked. I will talk about my own feeling about this. In the beginning, I found this project quite challenging, I still do, because some of the Chinese are classical Chinese, and they're difficult to translate, let alone they're difficult to understand, let alone to translate. I often spend a great amount of time research on just one word. Often I ask myself, what is the meaning? What is the meaning of the whole paragraph? What is the Buddha trying to say? I try to avoid translating Chinese words into English words. It is imperative to convey the Chinese meaning into English so non-Chinese speakers will understand. There are times when I translated something that I thought it was fantastic, and I had spent much time in the work, but during the group discussion, my translation was changed. So we must not allow the self got in the way, because that would take the fun out of translation. There's more than just working on translation. The real work is really working on the self. It is a place to expand the knowledge in English and in Chinese, expand our cultivation and understand the Dharma. To me, translation is like an art, like painting or sculpturing. Good artists know well the medium and tools they use. Through diligent practices, they become skillful at their craft. A masterpiece moves and inspires its audience. A good piece of translation should be the same. I'm very grateful to be part of the BTTS, and I wish you joy in translation. Amitabha.
Thank you very much, Suzanne. I was present when that team first got the idea to translate that particular text, and I was really excited and gratified about that, because the connection of filial respect, that is to say repaying parents' kindness, and Buddhist cultivation is not widely understood. Many people have no idea that there's any connection whatsoever. But this, a layman long ago, combed all the literature and came up with all these stories from the sutras, from the biographies, from commentaries about monks and nuns who, although they were full-time monastic cultivators, they still remembered that the source of blessings that allowed them to go forth and to practice the way came from others, namely their parents, and also from their teachers, and also from the Buddha himself. So this is a wonderful book, and I'm thrilled to know that there are people who take it seriously enough to want to translate it into English and then perhaps into other languages. So I really hope that project sustains and takes wing. And if anybody is interested in helping with that work, I'm sure it would be appreciated. The translators come from Australia, from Oakland, California, from all points of the compass. So that's the anthology of the stories of, it's called 世门真孝录, the stories of the true filial devotion of disciples of the Buddha. So our last speaker this afternoon is going to be Zhang Fulin, and Pasika Zhang is going to be talking about outreach, which is once you translate and publish the works that Master Hua explained and pointed out to us and gave us access to the Buddha's voice, what do you do with them then? What's the next step? How do you get them into people's hands? And that is quite a challenge. It's not as easy as you might think. And so here at the City of 10,000 Buddhas recently, in the last year or so, some of our longtime lay disciples have come up with a very interesting approach, a new option for outreach and distribution of not just the books, especially the books, but not only the books, giving lay people where there are no monasteries a chance to cultivate right alongside with the other monks and nuns around the world and the other lay people. So let's welcome Zhang Fulin to talk about outreach.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Zhang Fulin. So right now I'm going to share what happened in the outreach department in the BTTS. It's a brand new team just formed about a year ago when Mr. Lau had the idea. So everybody liked it, so we just started. So right now we maybe have 10, 20 people, but the email list will be more. So I can quickly just brief what happened last year. So after we get together, so the first idea is try to have more distribution volunteers to work together, find a way to distribute the sutras and the commentary we've been published. And then the second thing is we try to distribute the books to university library, and many of our members did it for a long time. And then after this outreach team, so there are a few professors from university and the college, they all work together. And then, so recently, our books been distributed to the North and the South California, those university, and even India. Some university also request our books, and it was being processed too. And then the third one is the, I think is the website and Facebook, the new media way to distribute. And Dhamma Master Shi Fa Shi already introduced you what happened just a few minutes ago. And then the fourth one is we've been thinking that, but recently it's just started kick off. It's about a sutra study group. Because once the sutra being translated, then also need to be studied. So in the Australia, they formed Melbourne, formed the Shrangama Sutra study group. So then we spread the news, so many people from different part of the world also joined their group to study together. And recently we got inquiry from the Abu Dhabi and also the Ontario, Canada. So people over many places, they hope to study the Shrangama Sutra together. So we're trying to help them to set up the class. Then so the fifth one, we've been trying to use these opportunity when many places invite the Dharma master to give a Dharma talk. So at the same time, then we try to work behind the scene, get all the sutra books and related books at the Dharma talk place. So after or before and after the Dharma master's talk, then people can get access to the books and the DVDs right away. So that's another thing we've been trying to do. And then the number 6 is we've been talking for a long time to propagating the vegetarian diet, but we still try to figure out the best way to do it through the new modern technology. And especially we have so many great chefs in the CTTB. We have teachers, we have parents, we have the faculties. And recently they did a very successful vegetarian cooking class in the city. So originally they only can serve 20 students, but there's more than 20 students, like 25 or more students wants to study, but then so they have to stop the registration. So that's the other area we're trying to do more work. And then at the end, I want to share a historical, the Master Xuanzang went to India to bring back the book and translate. And then I think the people work with him to translate those great Dharma masters, maybe 10 to 20 people. But the whole translation team he has is about 3,000 people. So what the most people do is to distribute. At that time, distribution, the form is very different from our time now. So that time, most of those people use the stroke and calligraphy to write the books has been translated. So those people written about 15 copies of the sutra to be just translated. Then the Emperor of China will distribute the books to the neighboring countries. So right now, so in this outreach team, so hopefully quickly we'll have 3,000 people and bring our books to the whole world, everywhere, just like the old days. So that's our hope. Amitofo.
Thank you, Fulin. That's a very exciting idea. Can you imagine President Obama filling in his role, the equivalent of the Chinese emperor in supporting Buddhist text translations? Maybe not. Don't hold your breath. But we might get a letter from Governor Jerry Brown who might say, good idea. And because Buddha Dharma is spreading wide and far. So whether or not we get the support of politicians and leadership, the work is still going on. And that the idea of Buddhist outreach is the time has come, and we appreciate the lay people's vision and leadership in encouraging the monastics to double their efforts to bring this into fruition. So we've talked about a lot of things so far today, and our time is quickly coming to a close. There are some projects that I'd like to mention and some groups already at work. The Sixth Patriarch Sutra has recently been retranslated, revised. It's been out since the early 80s, and now it's been brought up to date and done some historical research into it. So that's one of the founding sutras of the Chan school of meditation, and that text will be available soon. We've heard about our website. You're looking at it right now on the screen. Buddhist Text Translation Society, BTTS.DRBA, Dharma Realm Buddhist Association.org. And there is a new proposal for the faculty of Dharma Realm Buddhist University. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, let me look here. I think, yes, indeed, you can find a link right down here on the BTTS page that will take you over to Dharma Realm Buddhist University. And here, the faculty of the DRBU have been invited by the Buddhist Text Translation Society to publish e-books. That is to say, books that are available online electronically. They may not ever get printed into paper, but they're available online for distribution. And the first one of these will be by our Chancellor, Dr. Snezhana Akpinar, the Chancellor of Dharma Realm Buddhist University. The title is Buddhism, Islam, and Modernity. Buddhism, Islam, and Modernity. So that's an e-book, and there will be more to come, authored by the faculty of Dharma Realm Buddhist University. And if you go to our website here, you can see some of here's Dr. Akpinar's picture right here, and some of the other faculty with their brief qualifications here, and this is all available to you at drba.org. drbu.org. Here are some of those individuals, faculty and staff of our university, and much more. We have our emeritus faculty, lecturers, and instructors. So please do take a look at drbu.org, Dharma Realm Buddhist University, and as a link off of our BTTS translation page, and also our Facebook page can also get you there as well. Likewise, we have a Twitter feed. We are on Google+, and you can also send us email here with our links. Now, the Avatamsaka Sutra is, as we mentioned, is being translated, retranslated, and expanded in our translation. And I would like to just give you a sense of what is going on. There's lots of times that I'm going to read, and don't be confused by this long list, but just to say that we began with a single unified plenary group, just a great big focus, but over time we've split off into subgroups and parallel teams. We are translating chapter 1 from the start, thus I have heard, every Monday morning from 8:30 to 10:15. Chapter 39, the Ganda Vyuha, the Entering the Dharma Realm chapter, Rufa Jepin, meets on Thursday afternoons. David Rounds leads that one. The chapter 25, which is the 10 Transferences chapter, is led by Dharma Master Heng Yi on Friday afternoons. Chapter 27, led by Master Jin Yan, is on Sundays at 5:30 to 7 a.m., 5:30 in the morning, Sunday mornings. And Dharma Master Heng Yi, again, is leading another piece of the 10 Transferences chapter, a very long chapter, on Sundays at 3:30 p.m. So you can see at different times during the week, we have large-scale groups working on the translations in a variety of languages. Now, likewise, under the big umbrella of the Buddhist Text Translation Society, the larger community of translators, we have Master Hua's lectures on the patriarchs of the Chinese Buddhist world. The Shuijing Hui Tianlu Water Mirror translates Mondays to Saturdays at 5:30 to 7 a.m. Dharma Master Jin Yan leads that one. And then again, excuse me, Monday to Friday, 12:30 to 2 p.m., twice a day. Then the Patriarch Seal of Bodhi, which is the biographies of the patriarchs, Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. to 6:10 p.m. Jin Yan Sure leads that one. And then the filial respect anthology is Fridays a.m. 5:30 to 7, once a week, 5:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. on Fridays. And Liang Yuqin, YC Liang, leads that group. And so those are all ways that groups that are ongoing that you can get involved in. And the only qualification is willingness to take part and to bring whatever skills that you have. Also, Dharma Master Jin Fan, here from the city of 10,000 Buddhas, is leading an ongoing translation discussion group of the Avatamsaka Sutra and the Dharma Flower, the Lotus Sutra, and also the Avatamsaka Shastra by Master Changguan, Qingliang Guoshi. So 3 different groups led by Dharma Master Jin Fan, Mondays 5:30 to 7, Wednesday 5:30 to 7, and then Friday and Saturday 5:30 to 7, very early in the morning. Why so early? That's so that folks who are joining from China, from Taiwan, Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, wherever they might be, can take part via Skype and via other online conferencing software from the other side of the world. So it's a good, vigorous practice to get up that early, and you will be talking to folks from all over the world as we come together online using technology to do the work of translation. All right, that pretty much sums up our program this afternoon. And if you would like to get involved, if you'd like to stay involved and stay in touch, this is a good place to start, btts.drba.org. And I might mention that probably you have found this link, but on YouTube, you can find sutra lectures, live sutra lectures, and also archived after the fact when they've been recorded on YouTube, a channel called Dharma Realm Live. Dharma Realm Live. Let's see here. If you go to YouTube and go to Dharma Realm Live, correct? Spelled 3 separate words. You can find our YouTube channel with lots of archived lectures and Buddhist music, Buddhist events, and also events like today. So with that as the last bit of information, anyone else have anything to add? All right. Well, thank you very much for joining in. We appreciate your interest and your awareness, your consciousness. Please do give us feedback, and most of all, give us your resolve to wake up and to benefit all living beings. Amitofo. That concludes our program today. Yi Gong De Zhuang Yan Fo Jing Du Shang Bao Si Zhong An Xia Ji San Tu Ku Ji Fa Pu Yi Bao Shen in respect to the Venerable Master.